Welcome back to another episode of 11 Wins. We're your hosts,
Ellevan
and Winny.
And we fucking fuck shit up. Okay.
What, are we going to come up with something?
We must. Welcome back to another episode of 11 Wins. I'm Ellevan.
I'm Winny, and in today's episode,
we do a bunch of good stuff. We talk about the name change.
We talk about mental diets.
We touch on self-awareness, what the cannabis industry has done for us, the people that we've met along the way.
I talk about my comedy journey.
I talk about how I will most likely be the next villain in a Batman movie as the Riddler. That rhymes everything.
So you're obviously going to want to stay tuned.
And yeah, we really go into depth about what the cannabis industry has done to us, our continued role to play in it, how the field of covering the industry has changed, and our journey of how we got here and why we find the name evolution necessary.
Ellevan and Winny
of the 11 Wins podcast. Oh man, this is how it began. And this is how it's ending.
This isn't how it began, actually. It began in our living room.
Much differently it began. It was not like this at all.
This is great. This is how we thought it was going to begin.
If I often tell people when they want to start podcasts, don't start like this.
Don't start like this.
Yeah. Like this has been 4 years.
4 years. Did you click go?
We're rolling on all.
Rolling on all.
Yeah. I produced the show. We don't have a guest today.
Yeah, it's back to our roots.
Which we have to kick it real with y'all, and we have some explaining to do.
Yes. And we haven't figured out an intro for our
all right,
what
so
we're about to explain.
Let's give it to them one last time.
Okay. Even
though the title will be something else, we'll give them what they're used to one last time.
Okay.
Just to have it for us. And welcome back to another episode of Disciplined Stoners. I'm your host, Ellevan.
My name is Winny.
And we are the gateway drug to mindfulness. And today we change our name
of the podcast.
See, we're so unpracticed saying any other words together.
Yes. You probably recognize that this is a different title that you clicked on. We are now called
the 11 Wins Podcast.
The 11 Wins Podcast. That was easy. There we go. Now we're here.
We dropped it. We said it.
Ultimately, nothing is going to change, but that's because our Disciplined Stoners podcast evolved so much over the course of time.
When we started it, it literally was, we get high and we do stuff.
Ugh, cringe.
And it was us kind of shouting at the world our new understanding of self-awareness, if
Absolutely.
you will.
And we found that self-awareness through cannabis was a very helpful tool. It took other things. It wasn't just cannabis. You can't just get high all the time and sit on your couch. And I mean, maybe you can.
But it
I don't know.
helped me meditate. It helped me drown out my reactiveness so I could just focus on what mattered, which is the peace of my heart. It allowed me to connect with people I may not have connected with, and I got new perspective and new doors open. Cannabis has been such a vital role, and we love it so much, and we're in no way removing ourselves from the cannabis industry or anything. It is literally us wanting to open the gate to access the talent that we have on the show and that we are. Take that and keep smoking. Who's ever talking should pass. See, you'll learn all sorts of cool cultural smoking rules like that still with us. A lot of the people that we have on the show are cannabis pros or pro-cannabis, either way. But we just noticed that, like, there's a glass ceiling.
And Disciplined Stoners was born out of this idea. A lot of people were like, oh, that's so ironic or whatever when we told them what our name was.
And that fueled me. I was like, I don't want that to feel like an oxymoron.
Yes.
And when we first chose the name, I was like, I'm going to change people's minds. I'm going to change the stigma. I'm going to become so notable that it's going to change their mind. And I realized No, you cannot.
You can't change anyone's mind.
They're going to feel like that anyway.
Like
but
someone who has always thought that weed is the devil can't just look at any one person and be like, oh, that it's not the devil anymore. Like it just, so the reason why we started it, that's evolved because we've decided that we aren't really here to change people's minds. We're here to have great conversations. We're here to highlight people in and out of the cannabis industry.
And we do. We have a lot of friends, and a lot of them are super valuable. And they don't smoke, and it's not like they don't have the same core mindful perspective in order to connect with us. So we just noticed like we are 100% still pro cannabis and like with it
still going to be smoking on the podcast
during the show, but what this show has grown to be almost like unintendedly by us. Like we were very cool being like thuggy nichey, and we still kind of are as people. But no, Winny does have her face on Amazon Prime in a Hallmark movie, and like I am on like nice big stages, and a lot of our guests are like basic like famous people. Like this is cool now here.
We don't want to shy away from cannabis. We just don't want anyone who has a wild idea about cannabis in a negative way. We want to open our arms to them as well. And disciplined stoners automatically cut off our arms to them.
It turned them away and turned them off. Where now I'm gonna go with the Matthew McConaughey way. Here we go. We're topless. We're mindful. We're loving. You're attracted.
Might I say you're looking quite attractive today, Ellevan.
Thank you so much. You too. I love you. And this show's about love. But then we're going to be the whole thing, the whole package up front that's attractive. And then it's like, by the way, we smoke weed. What are you going to do? And then they accept it a little bit easier than me going, you can't come in unless you accept us being stoners.
And we're not going to throw anyone under the bus, but we have been declined interviews before because of the association.
Automatic association. Not passively. I feel like they'd be fine to be on if I was smoking, but they can't have their name, anyone involved with corporate or anything.
And they're really valuable people. So...
Or helpful people. Like, we want to give you value. We want to amp up the value. Yeah. And, like, we've invested in mics.
Yeah.
Yo, we've made some investments, yo. We bought some cool shit to make better stuff.
And now we're also open to other opportunities. There's not a glass ceiling there. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that like when you're in the cannabis industry, again, it's that fight where you're like, I'm going to bust through. But we have to work with where we are right now. And for us to make this sustainable and stay here with you, we really think this is the right move.
Yeah, we have the ability to still use that guiding light of wanting the stigma to resolve. But instead of being rah-rah against it, we're just going to move forward with what's new. Because a lot of these new cannabis users, to be honest, are like 20-year-olds who want to hit a vape and go on a hike. They're not even... Like, their parents are me, who smoked weed anyway and still worked out and drank juice. So they don't even have, like, we're actually talking. We realize we're talking to you. We're talking to the 20-year-old listening to the podcast doing Runyon Canyon. Like, or you guys, like, wherever you are in life, we want to come from a now perspective. Not, even though we as people may have experience, especially me in Legacy early on, or around Legacy and in the 420 celebrations. And, oh, yeah, we're going to finally have Matt Myrna on. He's finally down. And drop that bomb right now. But, yeah, so I think I was carrying that weight, almost like generational trauma, you know, into what we were trying to do, which was kind of clouding sometimes the actual pure intention, which is mindfulness, which is self-awareness, and which is showing up for yourself. Every single guest that comes on, when there's Ben of Trees who grows weed, JP Sachs, who's a great notable singer, or
Keith Pedro,
like the comedian, like they're all, oh wow, you're showing up for you're showing up for your family, you're showing up for people around you. Like, you give a fuck and you're dope and you've done something that is, we consider extraordinary. So that's the heart of the show.
And you're human and you feel and you have, like...
You're weak sometimes or hurt sometimes or came from something that wasn't favorable too.
Yes.
Honesty. Like, being transparent. And not to sound like martyrs of our values, but like the backbone of even Brad Goss, like, holy shit, he's like a silent killer. And then like we get to like draw it out of him, like, oh, you've been selling videos on the internet since 96. Like that, like everything makes sense now, right? So when you see someone who's popping off and you think it's just weekend luck, it's not. And we want to show you that. And that's like part of our journey as performers. Every green room I'm in with someone I respect, that's the conversation I'm trying to dig away at. Every time I'm in the club with someone I respect, I'm trying to talk about their craft and learn where they're coming from. So it's like we almost get those kind of like shoulder conversations with this show. And yes, we can be smoking weed, but it's also like not a primary ingredient. It feels like a secondary ingredient now.
And if for some reason, you know, we have a guest that doesn't smoke weed.
It's not like a pressure to.
It's not, yeah. And then we can consume in other ways, because even that we were like, well, we're going to still like.
I'm still going to have a drink. I'm still going to have edibles on screen.
When you come on the show,
I am a bit of a.
You have to sign a waiver that says that you know that we are going to be smoking weed. Or we never force our guests
whether
to smoke
you
weed.
want to or not.
But like that in itself is like might be a little harsh. Like we'll still let people know, but I don't know. This is the way that it's evolving, and we're excited about it.
We're also learning as people that soft-handing is the way to do things. Like the way I bust into my in-laws and said, like, I'm a stoner, fuck you guys. And, like, it wasn't the way at first, you know? It didn't conjure the reaction. But over time, once we took time to explain to them, this is medicine for me, there was just, like, all, like, love and acceptance. Like, yeah, he's going to need to have a smoke. Like, you know, that was cool. So learning from real live, like being a human experience and interactions, we take that into like what we're doing as a show and a brand to kind of like use a little more wisdom in our guidance to how we can introduce this. Yo, I got a sick message from Marina today.
Yeah.
Remember Marina,
Yeah.
our friend? And she said, I just reached out of nowhere. Someone told me, I was just like sending some love on DMs to people, and I'm like sending love or like something, or good vibes spell or something. And she's like, thanks so much. Like, really appreciate that. And she's like, yo, I gotta tell you, you guys, like knowing you guys has helped me with the judgment of myself for consuming cannabis. And that's just, I'm like, this is music to our ears. I immediately sent her a video. I'm like, that means so much to us for real. Like,
and she's a mature woman, so there was like this
she's older
stigma
than us.
that she has felt is
And-
probably much deeper than even we have felt.
a closeted stoner, just the older you are, and we talk about Rob, like he was like vilified.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did you guys pick on the hippies? Easy target, you fucking pussies. Sorry, just like, you know, fuck off. Like what are you bullying people for? 'Cause you're brainwashed? Wow. You're gonna try and control some people's behavior for some satisfaction some more?
Yeah, it's so interesting.
That's
how...
insane. Watch that little fucker in you.
So
Sorry, I
love that.
I don't like where you bully people because you think you're better than them for some reason. That's virtuous, and that's just like sad for you because you have nothing else.
I don't know if it's. I think you're right. I think you are correct.
Winnie, I'm always right. I'm kidding.
You are correct sometimes. But like case by case basis, I think sometimes, myself included, I was just doing what I was told. And tribe mentality is a thing. Like I for sure lived in my teens. I was like, oh my God, you're going to be a burnout if you smoke weed. Like that's just what I thought. Even though like my dad smoked weed and he's got like a intelligent brain, it's probably spicy of sorts. And he smoked weed growing up, and then we moved to Alberta, and I think he kind of got bullied out of weed, and I think he might be a little bit stigmatized with weed now too, and maybe out of practice, Papa, if you're listening to this on 11 Wins, on the 11 Wins podcast. Welcome to the 11 Wins podcast. Yeah. So obviously you can hear that it has parts of, well, a full name and parts of a name in it. And we were playing around with new names and nothing was feeling right. At one point, I really wanted the name "Let Us Change You." I was really down for that, but I think that might be in the coming years.
Winny,
might be like my
Winny
own thing.
Because you're a comedian brand, right? So it makes a lot of sense that you have like an ironic only base name.
Yeah.
But like for this, I just think it has a larger scope because we create a safe space for this podcast because I like what works for my rapper brand doesn't always work for the podcast, and you keep me from talking a lot of shit and possibly making enemies on our Discipline Stoners. Just sugar?
Yeah.
And then same like with you, like it brings you into like, hey, a little more like mindful focus sometimes instead of just silliness 24/7.
Yeah.
Like in your comedian brand. So it's like we really show up for this like specific energy that we've cultivated here. What Winnie was getting at just now, though, I do want to elaborate on how we came to this name. Like now that we've explained ourselves a little bit and that conversation can continue to unfurl. If you have anything to add to that, please do so in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts if you've experienced the stigma or how you think the evolution of this show, has... Oh, is there almonds in this? No, it's just orange.
And almond slivers.
Jeez, get out of here.
Get out of here.
Here. Get it away from me. The Sax Boys evolved our name.
Yeah.
We had Team Sax on it with Team Sax got our back when it comes to branding evolutions. And
there was a lot of options, though. We've been thinking about this for a while.
I do need to say, people have told us to change our name for years. I'm gonna give some flowers that I basically told to fuck off to. Eva.
Yeah, like basically
Eva.
Relationship ruined.
Yeah.
Sorry.
From that.
Eva.
I couldn't take it.
We love you.
I couldn't take the fact that you were right. I wasn't ready for that yet. Not the fact that you were right, but I wasn't ready to accept why. So thank you for that. Seen it ahead of time, said it anyway. I always respect my people who say it anyway. Who else told us? Did Cal from Pixel Dreams?
We got a couple. Eva was the most
adamant,
I think, and that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When she said that.
Early.
So, and we were just like we were still in that mind state of like, no, this is why it's the name.
Rah rah.
Like
yeah.
we're gonna fight for this, and maybe fighting isn't the answer. Maybe we've tried fighting too much, too long.
And you're totally right. And I got to give the big flowers that actually broke the camel's back, which I can tell you guys. I attract random angels into my life, whether they've been creators, influencers, and just deep friendships that I kind of have almost romantic-like entanglements with. Like, not romantic in an actual romantic sense, but in the way that you kind of fall in love with people. I have mental entanglements with them because I can hear from a higher place that this is good for me, because actually, I'll tell you the truth, what I'm chasing down is they piss me off in a certain type of way. They challenge me, just like Winnie. You can't please me to gain my favor. You have to challenge me in a way that offers me my own pace to evolve at, but the thing you're saying is inconvenient to where I'm at. But the truth about life is I'm always trying to grow. You always got to go next to what's next. So I know that there's doorways, and they come in forms of like challenges, and they always come as answers of things I've always wanted but never understood. So I got to go in without knowing an individual, really. I met this guy, Daniel.
Oh, shout out Dan.
Dan Jackman has been my dude to this recent evolution. I'm still not sure why he's been so kind, bro. Like, some people just want to help you evolve and, like, guide you along. Like, I'm still looking for the flaw.
I mean, it's
kind of nuts.
You've always had magical experiences like this, so we could shelf it under that or file it under there.
They're kind of just like, oh, wow, this guy's going somewhere, so I'm going to kind of help guide him, because I do also have a lot of tremendous flaws that probably hold me back in certain ways. And, like, I think I'm a weird case of someone that's like, great, so what? Instead of like, fuck you, I'm like, yes, I know. I don't know that.
Oh, no, you're definitely fuck you.
And you know what? The other part of the special people, because I don't even realize I'm being fuck you, because my reaction is always fuck you. The other part of those people is they can withstand my reactions.
That's
Elise Bauman, Tyson,
Matt,
Dan, Matt, like, dude,
Jag.
Matt could have kicked me out of his house. Like, I was living with the guy in LA, and I don't really you know what I mean?
Fat Sound,
my drummer,
Paul
Ohm has put up with my outbursts, like, and these are all like really cool people that most other people like want to impress and like look up to. Yeah. And I'm just like here being a baby with their time. And I love that they fucking, same with you like entertain what things could be with me. I don't know, like, I so appreciate you guys. I feel so grateful. Bless you.
The reward outweighs the risk.
Bless. Well, I always want that. I always want anyone who fucks with me to win.
But for some people, it doesn't, right? Like, for some people who are sensitive,
it destroys them.
It's just, I don't think everyone can be your friend or should be your friend or wants to be your friend.
I've destroyed more people than I think sometimes.
I think a lot of people do. And so that's great. Good job.
And I bless you, and I thank you. So bless.
It would be too much if everyone, like, we were kind of talking about this before we started rolling, that like when people make it, they kind of fall off. Like, that's that interesting thing where people are like, remember me when you're famous, right? And it's not that they're not
or he
not
blew up,
remembering
he doesn't need us anymore.
They're not forgetting you. They are fucking busy. They've worked so hard to get to this point, and now they still have families and those who are closest to them that they need to keep relationships with while they're trying to full-time do this insane thing that they've been trying to do forever. So it's not that anyone, forgets you at a certain point in their life or career. It's just that their priorities are in a different place. And if you were just an acquaintance or kind of a friend that they talk to, once in a while, like, of course you're going to be the first to fall off that relationship train. Like,
I love that clarity. That's really true.
Yeah.
I think we've both been on both
it's quite
sides.
Sweet. I think we need to mix it.
Can you get us a spoon? I'm sick of getting up. I love that you just clarified that, because honestly, we've both been, I know it's like mad vulnerable and real. Let's set off this new podcast with that real shit. But I wanted to continue to give Dan his flowers, because not only helped me set up an American LLC, which I've always needed to do, so now I have my EIN and I can operate in the States fully legally, and that's sick. For all the business entrepreneur geeks out there, you'll know what that means. And also, he was like, this name is dumb. Like, straight, like, I don't think it was dumb. I think he was like more harsh. I don't think he said that. Like, I don't actually think he said that. He said it in like a much kinder way. But like, I just heard it as like, this isn't doing you any favors. Because he's coming from a strictly business perspective. Yeah. And that's great that I take up all the space as an artist in like that relationship. And like, I'm more than happy to always do that. But I'm trying to evolve as a business person. So I'm a little bit like to have my own say in my processes. And I'm the CEO of what's going on here. So like, I need to be fully invested and understand that I take responsibility for everything across the board. And that's why I move slowly, step by step. I'm a Capricorn, I'm flashy, but I'm also an earth sign. So, I got to ground myself in the density of the new reality that I'm moving into. So I got to understand everything. So I took, after this guy beat me up mentally about it and changed my mind, which I love, because again, I will always chase that challenge. I let that process once I understood that, and I added the rest up, and then thought about what I could be doing with the opportunities I was saying no to with the name with stoners in it. And by the way, while this is going on, the whole like trivialness of, a name keeps doors closed, like that is so retarded overall. Like that is so, oh man, like it's what I wanted to fight. It makes me angry enough to want to fight it, but you can't make your whole identity anti-something.
We have to understand that we're human beings, and like the way that our psychology works is we have preconceived ideas based on our experiences of our entire lives.
Stoner means loser. It's anonymous with burnout or loser or non-achiever, and that's why disciplined stoners, even to stoners, should like, this is a great oxymoron. I'm like, it shouldn't be in your mind. What?
And it can evolve, just not in 5 years. Not in 10 years. Like, this is a 20, you know, in 20, 30 years, I bet we're going to see that word in a completely different light. It's going to be reframed.
It will.
Yeah.
Because of
I believe
us.
that. But it just takes more time. Like, we're here now.
We're here now. We have to work with where we're at.
And ultimately, when we decided to change the name, we were like, there was
Remorse.
okay, there was a couple things. There was sadness because
Mourning.
it felt like we were putting something to bed, but also there are weed podcasts out there for you. Like, we don't need
That's true.
we don't all, like, there's enough of us in this industry now. Like, we were one of the first. I'm gonna call, like, we were. That's just it. We were one of the first post legalization, like, that was focused in on weed and documenting what was happening in the legal and sometimes legacy industry.
They'll give us credit for that. I think, like, Sean directly of Higher Orbit has, like, he was on our podcast to start at that, and he gives those flowers, and we appreciate that. And to Winnie's point, not that you don't need us anymore, but like there wasn't. Let's give them right now. If people are really interested in the cannabis industry, Higher Orbit, Legacies podcast, right? Who else is covering shit?
High Ladies podcast.
High Ladies podcast. Like, these people are, like, I think covering
Bowls and Beats.
Bowls and Beats. Like, they're covering. We have cannabis guests, but they're covering what's
the industry. Yeah.
And when we started, no one was doing that yet. So we were like, great. Like, we gotta, it's not really our specialty to be like journalists or kind of maybe even cover it the way that they may be now. But we had our arm in, and we were the obvious choice for, like, cannabis and stuff and like those things at the time, because we were doing media in the space that was kind of presentable and we were performers. So we did play a bigger role, I think, and now we're like, oh, well, thanks to the industry, we've evolved. Like, it's not like we skipped that lily pad. It's like we've evolved now furthermore into just those conversations, which we were having anyway. We would have a grower on, or we even had, like, early Adam of Breezy on, remember?
Yes.
And he was much more business than I was prepared for.
Yeah.
I got to say, I probably didn't give that guy the best interview of his life, because our conversations are kind of strictly rooted in feeling or in inner process. Like, we don't really cover...
And that doesn't, it
like,
doesn't make sense for, it's us moving from B2B to B2C.
Yeah, like, we're much more consumer facing. We work with Can Expo, which is a lifestyle show, which is for the consumer, and we're the hired entertainment to the company that is those other.
Prior to the name change too, we even evolved our mission statement to be, we celebrate the hustle of the chronic go-getter or something like that.
Yeah.
So, like, we were really, and our guests, you know, our last guests have been musicians and comedians. Like, it just feels, ultimately, getting back to feeling, this feels really right.
Yeah.
And exciting.
And our name is in it. Our names are in it.
Yeah.
Like, 11 Wins. Like, you guys know us as 11 Wins. Like, you know, sometimes, and in the cannabis industry, sometimes people will still just know us as disciplined stoners. Like, I don't see us going into a cannabis event and people forgetting about disciplined stoners. Like, in association to us. Because also some people... Who said they got a job in cannabis and they wanted to learn about it, and when they Googled these companies, we kept coming up, like, on different, like, they'd Google, say, like, Band of Trees or like Jazz of someone, or like, we've had enough key players in the Canadian cannabis industry on that we kept coming up, and that's how they got into us. And now they're, like, a fan of the show, like, overall. But it was literally doing research for their field and being able to kind of understand and meet these people before they do business with them. Like that, like, we do offer that personal characterized touch because, like, we're entertainers. We're, you know, as I just said, thanks to people who helped me along the way, I'm humbly becoming a better business person. But, like,
we want to offer Paradox Live in markets that don't necessarily celebrate cannabis or, like...
Well, I'll still always try and have a cannabis brand at all my events.
Yeah, for sure.
And I want to work with as many cannabis brands and dispensaries across America as possible. Like, I'm now interested in that market and, like, moving around. But to Winnie's point, we can also do a Volvo Expo. Or, like, we can also do... you know, like, exactly.
Hudson's Bay can hire us for their Christmas party.
You know, we are full-time entertainers, so like removing that extra step of concern, I think people associate with that, which again is fucked up, and like we are always going to be part of evolving that, or at least having that conversation. But
instead of screaming it, we're just going to live it. We're going to live our truth with cannabis.
Yeah.
And our podcast is going to highlight people who we feel are winning under our Ellevan.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that the name offers. So this has been really a necessary, great long-form explanation conversation for us as well.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
And Winnie's such a great comedian, man. She's been out here in the fucking cold, out doing mics and out doing rooms and doing the reps that are necessary.
I'm excited.
To be next to you to evolve, and you guys can run it back. When we first had Nitish on, because Nitish has been on twice.
When we first had Angelica Scanura on.
Oh my God, like, you were just a little button.
I was just a little baby button.
And now you're this...
And I was just like, please tell me how to be a better comedian.
And you're so cute, though. But you took the humble, real, earnest approach as you do, Taurine. And then now you're out here feeling that rush of... Like, can you... Like, let's... We've done a lot of explaining. We'll continue to get to like the 10 commandments, the 11 wins, and what we want to kind of use as new template structure for the interviews and how we can touch on these wins, just like the disciplined stoners had values. But let's have a little bit of a guest interview with you and me.
Okay.
Yeah, in between that. So you, in my mind, just went through your like, or you're going through your like kitsch years. Like for me, and that's a reference internally to my journey that Winnie knows. But every artist goes through what I think is the solidifying years, where you go from like imagining yourself as something to really becoming that something. Who, even if you're not giving it as a service yet, you know how to give it as to be it, to do it. So Winnie's been like looking at envisioning herself as like a full capable comedian and just like beating the shit out of herself along the way, but not, because your life has evolved. And please just put it in your own words how this has been with your journey with stand-up.
Thank you. So I restarted stand-up in 2022, and I'm coming up on my third year in February. And I also had an 8-month stint into 2018. So, but that was like a do it once every 2 weeks, suck every time, it's too hard, I can't do it, I'm not funny, I'm getting sick, I'm quitting, basically. And then after the pandemic, it was really calling to me again, and writing was calling to me, and you just start with your first set, and it's really bad. It's so bad, that first set, when you look back on it. And then over the course of time, I think for me, it's always been, and one of our guests talk about incremental risk. Luther Mallory talked about incremental risk and how that's the way to sustainability, because it's not...
Who said that?
Luther Mallory.
Nice.
And so that's basically the template that I was using without even knowing it. It was once a week, and then it was twice a week, and then it was 3 times a week, and then it was writing and developing more jokes, and then it was, starting. I actually, truth be told, I only started
Truth be told,
real crowd work like 6 months ago, and I started doing only crowd. A comedian told me do 10 sets just crowd work. And I was like, that sounds horrible. I don't want to do that at all. And when Nitish had been on the podcast, he kind of gave us the steps of the growth of a comedian. And that was sort of one of them. He said, get out on stage and go as long as possible without doing any of your jokes. And that at that time during that episode, like I was like, that sounds absolutely disgusting and horrible. I don't want to do that. And then so I did 8 sets of full crowd work, and it sucked. Oh boy, it was bad. and I let myself fall. And there was one time, I think you probably remember this, where I cycled home so fast because I was so embarrassed and there was so much energy inside my body. It was the first time I did the back room, I think. Maybe that wasn't crowd work. Anyways, I've had a lot of emotions.
It has been
doing
amazing to
comedy.
watch your roller coaster of emotions during these processes.
This last step of doing those 8 sets with crowd work only and really failing until the 6th one, I found something.
Yeah.
And then the 7th one, I became present with the group.
Oh.
And if there was time where we were silent, it was fine.
Oh.
Like, it was such a beautiful step because it calloused over the sensitivity of, and of course it's still gonna hurt. I'm always gonna level up and have that next bomb that really doesn't feel good. And if you don't, you're not doing comedy right.
Oh.
I really believe that. All of the
She's got
greats
opinions
can
now.
still go out on stage and bomb. You don't see, there's always people that are gonna freak out and get mad at the audience.
If it can happen to Dave, it can happen to anyone.
Exactly. So since then, what I'm really interested in is getting more comfortable weaving my jokes through crowd work. So I can be with the crowd and then I can seamlessly come back into a joke and then I can go back to some crowd and then I can come back to a joke. I just find that's going to be a long journey. I think that's probably the next 2 years.
That's just the same intuitiveness as giving head.
Yeah.
What's stimulating the best, and then learn to evolve with the body, with the energy, what's needed.
And it's ultimately presence.
Yeah.
But you have this arsenal of material that you enjoy
I can go in circles. I can go like this. I can hold the lips. You can try to take it down. You can pull it back and just suck the head. There's all sorts of different moves you can do, right?
Yeah.
That's the arsenal.
So, but it really
For me,
is
I
reps.
have these little crutch things that I would always land on, and you can still hear me land on them when I'm doing really long things. When I go, I'll live in a better endeavor to get it together, whatever. I'm levitating dim. It's I go right into something where it's my brain just needs a break for 1 second. And it's so you have these little technical things that you lean on for a minute so you can catch your breath and then continue pushing power in it.
Yeah.
So how has that been hosting our Paradox Lives? For anyone who hasn't been to one of our shows, if you're watching from not Toronto, a lot of our community in Toronto has. I gotta say, I love you guys, man. I got to bring something to life, and it's to cut you off on stand-up, but I think it perhaps plays a role, and I want to pivot back to it. But I finally got to bring to life my ideal cannabis event that I'm so lucky to have brand partners. Shout out Ben Trees. This is our our house wine, our resident flower. I'm having some trifecta of his right now. Shout out Jess on the team over there. Siege and Trees. And Rocket Factory did one with us, and our brand partners are just awesome to allow me to bless the audience with such abundance. And Winny
Rocket Factory did 2 with us.
Did 2 with us, yeah. Simply Bear's been on board. Black Market, they never do events like that, but homie, shout out to Dill. So a lot of good relationships made in the industry lend themselves to the structure of how I format it to bring the show to life. And I do my live music thing, and Winnie does her stand-up, and we have great stand-ups on. But Winnie is the queen bee of the house. Winnie is the host. We administer the raffles even ourselves. How has that been as part of your journey, learning to host and stuff, and having your own event series?
I think 2 paradoxes ago, which would have been our December 7th show, I
Holiday Hotbox.
finally was oh, just let it go. I cannot describe to you how much control I think I have. I am a Taurus, double Libra. I call myself a container a lot of the times because I just want to make sure that everything is flowing as balanced and harmonious as possible.
Crazy how I attracted someone like that.
And the December 7th show, we had someone green out early.
Right away. Our artist.
Almost right away. It was absolutely
She
chaos.
like puking up sushi like over, and she's like on the floor like this, and it's a very small space because right here where we shoot our podcast is where we do the show.
I had also told a comedian that he couldn't do another show because he needed to be at my show at 9 p.m. And then we weren't even starting until 10. Like we were not even.
I didn't even think about that.
There were just things that
Winny
I
produces
felt
and
in
books
my
the
heart. I
comedians.
was like, I want to control, and and this is not how I thought this was going to go. And I just finally was like, well, that's okay.
Yep.
I'm here. I'm looking around. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's safe.
Audience loves it.
Ultimately, this is still really
It's a
great.
good show. It's a good event. You can smoke inside.
Yeah, we pay our comedians, we pay our musicians. Like we're out here supporting artists because that's how we want to be supported, honestly.
That's it. We're becoming what we didn't have.
Yeah.
And that's the dream, right? Is to give to others where you didn't, so you're creating through alchemy. Yeah.
And we found something special in smaller shows. There's an intimate aspect where
everything changed.
I can be with everyone, and you can be with everyone.
Because I felt like a chicken when we were doing Rhythm and Flows. I felt like a chicken with his head cut off running around. I was almost standoffish with people. Like I feel so bad. Like Dad, fucking Willie's dad, Dave, who came with beautiful Mother Maria. I didn't have any time to you guys drove in all the way from a far suburb, and
People
still
are very
feel
understanding,
such a dick.
though.
I know, but even your friends from the yoga studio, I never got it. And I know that some people are like, well, kind of fuck that guy. But it's I was just in over my head, and I was just trying to also maintain my energy for performing, because that shit is amazing.
That's what I'm gonna say.
So the intimate.
I love everything that we're doing, and even with the intimate series, and that was a big moment for me where I feel that it changed my life in ways that I'm not even privy to yet. This relinquish of what I think I have control over is doing well for me. I don't know what that means. I just know that it's working right now. It's working for my overall health. And I'm super into it.
I've never known a taurine to not convince themselves that they're in control, even if it's just this little square right
and
here.
my natural instincts are still going off, and I'm finding I'm using brain power to change and pivot. And you can see that in my stand-up. I'm literally taking up more space as a human. I'm speaking more. I know more. I'm somehow more educated.
Because you're opening, because you're also a receiver. That's what people forget, is you're a broadcaster and a receiver. So if you have the mental position to be I know this, I'm just receiving and waiting for the answer, the universe will land it in your brain, even if it's through the cognitive search of knowledge.
Yeah.
It's just being open to it. So the next step is to get on Google, then check that source, then explore more there. And then before you know it, your imagination and fascination of just learning will take, that's the physical process, but the energetic process is just being open to think that you can find the answer.
Yeah.
And it takes confidence. I think what I've observed from your spirit, whether it's through the lens of inner work or being forced to be the host of your own series and book people and communicate as a professional, or just the pursuit of becoming a full-time artist by doing by developing your craft and performance, it all is just confidence. It's all just confident work. So it's when someone joins a self-defense class and you see they literally start to look healthier because they're I can punch someone if I need to. You just have this deeper understanding of your confidence, I can answer if spoken to.
Yeah.
You're equipped now more mentally, and that's just been amazing to see your spirit go through that evolution.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Paradox has been so good for me as a comedian and as a host, because hosting is a different beast as a comedian, as all the comedians know.
I think it's a harder job.
And I agree. I think that I'm less good at it than just coming up and doing a set, but I want to get better at it, as always. So the one thing that I will say is, with our small team that we have.
Us?
Yeah.
And my dad or Rob or whoever else shows up to sometimes help.
Yeah, I feel as though maybe my craft gets slightly put to the back burner when
And I don't want
you're
that.
hosting yourself. But I think that just comes with like practice. Like that just comes with more reps and stuff. Like at some point, I don't think that would be the case.
Like it doesn't have to?
It doesn't have to. Yeah, but also help probably. I definitely.
Yeah, I will say when we did them at Laughing Viking Studio, it's just cool to do a little summer over there when it's warm because it's outside. Lars hosting was dope.
A vibe.
Was dope.
Yeah.
It was nice to have a host.
And we have just gotten so lucky with the comedians that we've brought.
Yeah,
on.
tell.
Sandra Battaglini was and Precious Chong were at our
Who just tagged
our
along
first one
that
on night. At the Laughing Vikings, the floating alley on Queen Street East, so beautiful. And then Jazz was on that show too, right?
Yeah, Jazz
Yes.
Salini.
And then who was the next? Was that the second one? Or
Well,
was that-
no, yeah, Anto Chan was first, our first one. Anto Chan and, oh my God, we're having such a stoner moment.
And then okay, so since then,
I mean, start all the way back at Rhythm and Flow. It's nuts. But as far as since we fully named them Paradox Live, yeah.
this last one we had Big Norm.
Adrian
no,
Fish.
that was December. Adrian Fish. And Sammy Fareed, who is
Dude,
so
he
fucking
crushed
funny.
it. Sammy, we gotta have Sammy on. He's funny as
Yeah,
fuck.
he's so funny.
He's just
and
also
then
a
we had
character.
Jared Nathan on the last one, on the New Year's Eve one.
And he had some fans. Brooke from 1922
Yeah.
was calling herself out last night. I went and shot a can of cover at 1922 last night. And she was like, yo, I was accidentally fangirling Jared too hard that night. And I'm like, yo, that's sick.
He deserves that.
He deserves it. He's funny as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
He's all jokes, too. And, like, Mike told me this beautiful moment he had in conversation with Jared where Jared took a moment and, like, sentiently commented on what they were talking about because Mike of 1922 just gets right to the guts of everything. And Jared's like, it's a good conversation. Like, I like this conversation. You're saying real shit.
Yeah.
He's tuned in to another level. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Feels
And,
like family.
Yeah, we've just had people like ask to be on the show now. It's an exciting show and an exciting series.
I think so too. Like I love the groundbreakingness of it. Like I'm always gonna source out things like that. I'm always gonna try and break some rules, kind of.
Yeah.
I want to push the edge of what's been done, and then I feel like I inspire, and then once it catch on, I leave. So it's like, it will be what it is right now for a period of time until someone teefs this idea from me. And then, because it will happen. Any good idea will get teefed. And I love that.
Well, there's already versions of it.
Everything is already a version
But like
of
this
it.
specific show, intimate show, unlimited or all-inclusive, we call it.
Yeah.
So not only are you getting entertainment, but your food,
Open weed bar.
drink, and
Open weed bar. And when we say food, okay, I'm not throwing shade at other events. I'm just saying I've been to a lot of stoner events, and never once was I given nice sushi like we had. And I'm doing things that I've
we did
always...
a crazy fruit and veggie spread last time, and
Yeah.
it was so good.
It had like just a sheet. So it's like a open weed bar, open like healthy, classy food bar. And we always take care of you with drinks by giving you our favorite drink, which is sparkling water with pomegranate in it.
Yeah.
And then we dose it with, there's a couple different companies that have a couple different type things, but like there's these things on market, whether you're in America or Canada, I'm sure you can find them. Try and get ones without like the butane taste in them. But we spike your sparkling water with THC or CBD.
We ask you first.
Yeah, if you'd like that, So they're basically cannabis drinks. And when our friend Jocelyn of Sweet Justice sometimes gives us some bar hop to give, which I really do actually enjoy that product. Non-paid sponsorship right there. A little bit of love just because it's a great product. And we often serve them at our events because of their kindness. So I'm happy to put you in that direction to go ahead and find a bar hop wherever you're at.
Love that. See, we're still talking about cannabis. There's literally nothing has changed besides the name.
That's like the thing that I do want to be super clear on is like, it's not us leaving cannabis.
Yeah.
We're also still a part of Can Expo. We're also like still
Gonna be around.
Are going to like, party with you guys.
Yeah, we're not, there's no exit. I know, and people like to each their own. We get why people would exit, but
A lot of people have. Just that's why I say it is like a lot of people are like, oh, the cannabis industry is losing so much talent because it can't really afford to keep them, you know? So we're kind of along the lines of, well, we are enjoying our time weed adjacent. I think we're also in a privileged position where we're weed adjacent, and thanks to our content and our partners, a lot of the industry knows of us. So by the time I talk to the brands, there's often good synergy for us to work together in some capacity, whether it's content or live events. Like, it very much serves us, and I'm very much grateful for it. I often say, like, wow, the cannabis industry has clothed me. Like, I have so many outfits that are like weed hoodies and stuff, and it's fed me. So, you know, we're still part of Can Expo. We're running the stage and programming, and our network is very helpful for that. So, yeah, holler.
still planning our Paradox all-inclusive shows.
Yeah, and in different markets too. Like, it's not being done really anywhere. So it's like Florida, Phoenix, Los Angeles,
Vancouver.
You know, the thing is I talked. Check this out. I was thinking Vancouver would be a great market, right? Because actually Alberta is a good market. The Moon, like Edmonton was cool. It was a great room. We loved that. Blunts and Breens brought us out there. Thank you. And Spandy and Nick from my high school, two buddies I made in Vancouver who knew me from young, were with me in the green room before I went on stage at that show. I felt like a dream come true or something. It was cool. Nice moments. Shout out you guys. But the more I talk to people from Vancouver, they discourage me from doing anything in Vancouver, including Ash from Raw, from HBI. Homie, thank you. Not to throw you under the bus on saying that, but like literally, you're not the only one. Like literally poking around other LPs, retail. You know, there is one cool little hub that's been established, and Axel is a part of it, who's one of the first sommeliers I met in the industry. Book club.
Book club.
You know, and we went there with our friend Scott. Shout out our friend Scott. We got to actually put y'all on game about the
Who
ozone
are you,
oil.
Shabazz?
I know. I'm just realizing how many people like we fuck with in this bitch. And the boys from Burb over there, like you guys are doing very cool stuff. Like I respect what's going on in Vancouver, but as far as like me trying to dive into Vancouver and cause something, I'm not very optimistic. Like just because people don't come out. Like I grew
Montreal.
up, I would do a Montreal show before I do a Vancouver show.
Montreal might be cool.
I think so. Like, not to throw shade on Vancouver. I grew up in Vancouver, so fuck y'all. I am me. I'm Vancouver.
He's allowed to say it.
Yeah, basically. I'm just saying, like, if you're from Vancouver, you know, nobody comes out unless it's like a steady thing. Like, I trained at VTSL, so Vancouver Theatre Sports League. They'll get a crowd.
You know what they would fuck with in Vancouver though? You're oming off the top.
You have to put down all the things, your phones, and I'm sorry to interrupt weed rolling, but I do need your mouth on this. Pause. Okay, so we're going to breathe in for 4 counts through our nose, and on the exhale, we're going to ohm. So follow along with me. Very nice. Kenny, pick your fucking weed and hurry up. Welcome. One more time. Breathe in through your nose. Just take one of each and take a seat, bro. Ready? One more time.
Oh my God, and for drinks, we have sparkling.
Stop telling him when he let him have some. Okay, here we go. Breathe out. Ready?
Sparkling water, regular flavor, lemon or lime, and I have an arlo drink as well, and I can put THC and all of that or not. Okay, sure.
Let's do that instead, yeah.
This is fun. I'm super high. One more time. Breathe in.
Seed and roll if you want. Okay. So do you want?
Kenny,
Hey!
join me on this. Win. Do it with me. One time. Let the room be connected. One fucking time. Breathe in. Ready? Oh. Namaste.
Namaste. You want lemon?
Thank you guys for being
or
here.
aloe?
Yeah. Then we just sell it as a mindful session.
This seemed not necessary.
I just like watching things burn, just like my relationship with Vancouver in these comments.
And many
I'm
relationships throughout the history of Ellevan.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll probably still burn some to go. So those who think we're friends right now, get ready. I'm
silly.
nuts. I'm like a
Stop doing that.
hurricane. Why?
Because, I don't know, smoke? I don't know.
Smoke. We smoke here all the
I
time.
know, but this is a
I'm
different kind
saging.
of
It's
smoke.
ceremonious,
It kind of
buddy.
does smell good, though.
It's
Am I?
this.
Oh.
It's the blunt.
Oh, it's the
It's the
blunt.
blizzy.
Okay, so this is first week Feb, right? We're in February 2025 now.
Yep.
That was awesome, and we can talk any more that you want to talk about that. I just want to bring it back to our roots of like what I'm learning right now, and
Please.
something that I heard today that really got my wheels turning.
Yeah.
It's this idea of a mental diet. We're in the new year. People have all sorts of resolutions. Last year, I realized and came to an abrupt understanding of how awful I am inside
Negative.
my head. And I really had to call myself out like really hard. And it was almost shocking. It was shocking to me how negative I was, and I wasn't aware of it. And we've talked about this before, but like just saying things along the lines of like, you're just not good enough. Like you really have no business here. You shouldn't be doing this. Things aren't working. Like really strong negative statements that are going to make your life harder on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. And the concept of a diet, I never love that concept of diet. It seems like there's a lot of toxic health culture and all of that. But I don't know why this gets so loud when you leave.
Because it's actually the lack of my body being here.
Oh,
Yeah.
It absorbs some of that.
Must.
So
Continue.
to not filter yourself, but be aware. And
Stop being a little
like
bitch.
you're not going to poison yourself. No one's here thinking, oh, let me put some arsenic in my drink today and I'll drink that. You're not going to do that. So why would you poison your mind with things that aren't working for you? I really think like it would behoove me to continue this work. I know that it has, because I've felt better on a regular basis, and it has contributed to my well-being, and it has contributed to the strength it takes to make hard choices that are good for your well-being.
Oh.
It is so scary. Conflict is so scary. The two of us have had big strides in our communication in the last couple of months.
I'd agree.
Because we are creating a muscle that is brave enough to say, hey, look at me and all my shit and crazy.
And unlearn.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
and allow the other one to be like, well, I didn't know, so this feels like it's kind of coming out of left field, but like, yeah, for sure, it's okay. We just like should get familiar with it.
Yeah, getting familiar and not judging.
And like even something as simple as like Ellevan has stopped accompanying me all the time to my stand-up sets.
Yep.
And I told him a month ago, like, it doesn't make me, I get no joy in asking you not to come to these sets. Like, doesn't make me feel good. If anything, it's scary. I don't want you to feel unloved or unvalued or anything like that. But at the same time, I need
You
to
gotta develop.
progress, to develop. I need to become. I am still a little baby.
She's going to the gym
I'm less baby. I'm more toddler now.
and learning who you are, and if a situation makes you uncomfortable, having the confidence to set boundaries and say no, and me trusting that, because me observing past renditions of you, that those things weren't developed yet. So like just all of us trusting to like unlearn and like understand this new perspective and this new wave. And like, of course you want your partner to win. You want them to do like whatever it takes to like win and develop. And to have those conversations have been so great. I explained it to our friends Mike and Brooke last night. Is like when we were together, when we were younger, I was so much more okay with taking up 80% of the space, and you were only developed 20%, or 70-30, whatever it is. It varies at different times, but basically, I was always on max, and you, it's no victim slave shit or anything. It's like literally you only want to take up 20% as a person. Like that's all you develop to be. And then I realized even with this podcast and stuff, I'm like, yo, Winny, show up. Like have opinions about our business. Have opinions about what clients we work with. And you're like, I don't know. I've been an employee my whole life. I've never thought outside of the box of what I've been given. When we had your mom on, I noticed some things click for you. And because you're like, oh my God, you chose what to do and what I almost decided to be because it was listed in the classifieds that day. Like, wow, like if I struck a chance legacy start, maybe. But anyway, to watch you start to take up space physically, like walking in our kitchen, she'll literally like, boom, like walk by like a bro. And I'm like, sick. I'm like, that's good because that sheepish energy, it won't unlock these next doors. That passive, undecided, unrefined.
I think the new big self-help trend is getting uncomfortable. It's always been around, but I think that's really people are going to push that narrative because we've stopped growing and we've uncalloused, and that's why we're so sensitive. And every time someone has their feelings hurt, they have to explain why their feelings are hurt.
We got to slow
why
down.
That other person's actions hurt their feelings, and why that person shouldn't have done that. Otherwise, my feelings wouldn't have been hurt.
Enter cancel culture.
And that's fine. Like whatever. Cancel culture is good for a reason, and it has been good for
pendulum swung.
Yes, but like also though. That saying, no one can make you feel like a victim or something like that. Like no one can make you feel disrespected
no one can
unless
make you feel
allow
anything.
them.
Yeah, anything.
To. So, and that goes the same with your own head. Like that's what was so shocking with me when I realized like, how have I been how has this been my internal dialogue? And I wasn't even aware of it. Because I'm saying affirmations, but in between those affirmations, it's like, yeah, right. It was really interesting and really disappointing, if I'm being honest, because
Thank you.
I've been trying so hard.
Yeah, but that's important for you to admit that because. If I may, like we were saying, even like, about people being like, yeah, Winny is like such a ray of sunshine, like to say to me, and I'm like, yeah. Like
I told a friend this recently, like I get away with acting like the sane one, but none of us are.
No, I'm just so okay with owning the villain that I'm like, yeah, I'm the bad one.
Yeah.
Because that's more colorful and creative for me, but really.
And like what we think of as sane now has been developed by society and standards that like.
Do you listen? Do you comply?
That are based on also like crazy being bad and like getting help being, you're not a strong independent person if you want to get help somewhere. Or are you chilly?
No, I'm just owning this villain persona.
Nice.
I'm like a badass rapper.
I think you'd be a great villain. If you could play a new villain, who would it be?
Me.
Like, no, if you could play a villain that's already been like made, but like you do the new version of that villain.
The Riddler. And everything would rhyme.
Cool.
I do like riddles, and it would be like, if you didn't know this linguistic element, that's what would make you die. Like you have to.
14-year-old or 15-year-old Ellevan's first YouTube video. One of first YouTube videos.
Enigma.
Oh, Enigma. Is that a different one? The Riddler and Enigma aren't the same?
No, that was the video you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Mick produced.
Mick Chow?
Yeah. It was the year that we met.
Wow.
Dangerous Portion, improv troupe.
You would be a great Riddler.
I will be the Riddler, and that's my thing with like bringing Eminem and Jim Carrey in my being. That's like a rapping Riddler is like Jim Carrey, because he was like, I see, I'd just be like kind of like the dark Riddler, like the Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger did the Joker, where he like took him from cartoon to like real, and you'd understand how someone would land there. I'll embody the psychosis of obsession that is my actual obsession with words as Ellevan, and I would give it this sort of use the villainous energy of being a rapper to then be the Riddler, because I'm the Riddler.
I don't see myself as being a antagonist in the character sense, like in the Marvel or DC.
Yo, holler at me for that fucking role, Batman. That's proper.
Yeah.
I really just built my career fate right there.
I would love to see that.
That's
for
why
you.
I'm back in acting. Like, the full thing is like I'm back in acting because I'm bringing a rapper to
What
the screen.
could go right? Play that game.
What could go right?
Okay,
Exactly.
so 2025, mental diet, be aware, and really tune in. Because some of us are probably like myself, that you don't even know
You
that
bet.
You're being so mean. So tune in, become aware of it, feel the disappointment.
What are you saying to yourself in your head?
And then
Think about it. Think about what you think about.
we haven't played this game in a while, but it's a game
I want
called
to play a game.
It's a game called What Could Go Right. And it allows you to dream the best case scenarios in your even everyday life. If you wake up in the morning and you say, what could go right? Well, I could have the most delicious cappuccino. And then in my meditation, I could really feel connected to God. And then after that, I have a coffee with someone who really nourishes my spirit. Like, just who cares if it doesn't happen? Like, just give yourself an opportunity to be creative about what could go right in your life. And that just happened for you with the Riddler.
Oh, yeah.
And that feels so good.
It does feel good to the point where we can make this a short. Join
Yeah.
my Indiegogo to make this Riddler trailer. That'd
That's
be great.
I'm
I'm
gonna
the
hold
Riddler.
you to this. We're gonna get you a monologue, a Riddler monologue.
Well, I gotta write it because it's all gotta rhyme. Everything this guy says on screen rhymes, and the villain has to die, so my last words will
Do
be
you know who the last Riddler was?
Jim Carrey.
Oh my god.
And now it's 11 because that's the fate of my life because I always felt like I'm a mix of Jim Carrey and Eminem.
Maybe Jim Carrey will be in it.
Maybe he kills me. Maybe he's like back to the good side or something. Who knows?
That could go right.
I'd be fun. I'd love to work with Jim. He's back in acting too.
Do you have any things that you're staying aware of that you can tell the people?
I'm trying to think. No. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just being. I'm being tethered. I'm being guided. Because I'm tethered to an outcome, but every time I think I'm clever, the universe will just kind of smack my bottom. So I'm just learning from that. You cannot rush things. I had a nice mental breakdown start of the year. When everyone's like, yeah, brand new year. I'm like, ah! And then by the time, but I'm still doing the things. Like the Blue Monday just happened, right? And it's because everyone's down. And I'm like, no, okay, I'm at least steady. So my journey is interesting. Winnie's going through the optics of Winnie's struggle right now is very fun. It's the montage in the movie, and then you fail and you get up, and then my shit is I gave the wrong routing numbers for the transfer. Fuck! I'm one of the people jumping out of the window in 9/11, even though it's not 9/11. I'm just really, really in a humble situation in my journey. Even though everything is going well, it's just every step forward is just something new to learn. Because where Winnie's developing as a comedian, I'm developing as a business person. So, my parents, I had to learn everything from scratch, which I love. I feel like my spirit kind of came here for that. So it's been a lot of self-worth work, and it's been a lot of actually trusting my intuition. And I think what I keep learning is keep a clear focus, the clarity. It just comes back to the clarity. Don't get lost in any side missions. You know, a lot of people will give me business ideas that it's like, here, you want money? Like, here's 1,000 ways to make money, like, outside of, like, what you're doing. But I'm like, no, like, the commitment of the point of all of this is so I can do this.
So, yeah.
So I get, like, I guess I realize, like, my inevitable journey towards commercial success is, you know, going to be paved with, like, different versions of yourself. Like JP said, like, I'm going to become something that I'm not quite yet. So I guess I'm, like, judging just less of myself and others in the present to kind of be where I'm at more.
I've observed you with more self-compassion and more grace and more understanding in moments of frustration. And that's been really beautiful for me to see evolve, because obviously you never want to see your loved one in pain. And
because they just hit themselves.
Sometimes, but also, you know, physical pain, yes, but emotional
pain
is hard too. Like it hurts just as much almost inside your body. It's crazy how your heart can hurt.
You don't even think about that too. You're literally, by you taking on hurt and living in that disconnected, out of alignment scenario, it's like you're actually hurting the people around you.
So, yeah, kudos to that. I think what you just said is that's a result of what you just said. So,
Thank you.
nice work.
I appreciate
And just like
you.
judging other people less, just like feels better too.
What does it matter? What does it matter that they couldn't do what you wanted them to do? That's always the point, right? You're always judging someone because you're like, you're not doing what I want you to do.
Yeah.
You're not doing what I want you to do. Think about it. It's this little thing in your head that's like, they're not doing it. They're not doing it. And it's like, so what? Like, so what? Like, as soon as you have that awareness, you're like, I am blessed. I am blessed. I see the difference. I'm blessed. You're at the top of the mountain. Judgment is like trying to kick down at something.
Yeah, and this takes us like back to the name change, where we really wanted to stick it to people and like say like, no,
They're not getting it. They're not getting
you're
it.
wrong. You're missing out on medicine. That's
wrong.
what I wanted people to see.
God, just
like,
relax.
just relax. Like, who is right for you will find you.
It works for me. It
Yeah.
works for me. That's what I can say. And I'll say it to a really cool fucking guest who's accomplished something really cool.
Okay, to wrap this up, we got
like the Riddler.
mental diet. Be aware of what you're thinking.
Yes.
Get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes when your initial reaction is, no, don't do this. It's your body keeping you safe. It's not necessarily that you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Clarity. What do you want? I can't tell you how many actors I've met on set that I've said, what is your dream role? And they've just never thought about it. Well, how you gonna get there? What do you want? Keep that at the forefront of your focus. Give yourself little reminders, you know? Ellevan's decided to play the piano now while I wrap this up. And there was one more thing I think that we discussed. Hey, Ellevan, welcome to our new podcast. I'm so happy to be here with you, and we're having a blast. I've learned how to make up songs on the spot because you helped me practice them. Goddamn, you are so hot, hot. Thank you for being here. I thank you for being here. Hopefully we can grow together all this year. Hundreds of thousands of views, that's what can go right. Tell your friends to subscribe. Yes. Oh, I was really good for a second. And he keeps going. Boop-a-da, boop-a, 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 boo-doo, boop-a, ba, tee, 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 doo, da, ding, dum, ba, ba, da, boo.
We've got a name change. And we've come to say our focus has framed what makes people great. Boom, 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 boom. Bum, 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 bum. 11 values that we should do when we hold to, when we know you, when it's so true, when you comes through, when you manifest and you focus on it and you invest. And the number one is show up for yourself. Yeah, that's where you invest. As I digress, as I find that new contest. I show up with new context, new name and new flex and new big dick pics that I send to Winnie in the middle of the day. Hope she sends one back okay, but of that puss.
You've come to the end of the podcast. This is still, we're not starting from the bottom also, everybody. We are not starting from the bottom. This is not episode 1 of the 11 Wins podcast.
We've done 230 episodes, fuck off,
Yeah.
of a podcast. This podcast, I can change the name every fucking episode if I want. It's still 230 reps of recording and producing and doing a podcast in this frame of thought with these hosts.
Yes.
So eat my asshole if you don't like that.
If you don't like that,
Or if you do like that.
because you'd like your asshole eaten, wouldn't you?
I do, yeah.
It's a mental thing, folks.
Gotta get over it. If you have any tips for Win,
Yeah.
let her know.
Yeah, if you love eating ass, I would love your perspective. Holler at me in the DMs. I would
About-
love that. Oh, hey, Winnie. I just wanted to
Take deep breaths.
to talk to you about regarding the ass eating. That would be
Gotta do tongue
sick.
exercises. Yeah.
It's not about the movement. It's about the asshole.
Even if it's clean, it's just like
Just like Disciplined Stoners has issues with some people.
Connotation.
I
you're one of the
just,
asshole eaters. That's not asshole
poop
eater.
comes out of there.
Yeah. Not during that process though, unless you're really kinky. But no, this is a nice blunt.
Yeah, it is a nice blunt.
Once you get them rolled up, they work.
I've had such a nice time with you.
Yes.
I think that we should do more of these together. I think once a month it should be me and you.
I like you.
I like you too.
Do you like me?
Yeah, like see, I used to hate this.
Yes.
Do Borat voice in public.
And she would be like, stop doing it. And I'd be like, the class clown in me is like, what?
That he'd
But
go-
why not?
And I've actually learned not to tell him to stop because then he'll do it more. It's
Yo,
like
it's I almost can't control it. I
Yeah.
basically can't control it.
you'll
Like
go.
there's
No, I know you. I've seen you not control it before.
like there's bigger men than me who don't know me who say stop that, and I'm like, oh, I have to do it. You don't understand. I'll look them in the eye as I do it and be like, you understand, right? Like, don't hit me, but I will fucking do this. And if you hit me, I'll hit you back.
It's intense. But I didn't even like the show Borat on at home because
Well,
it would
why
make
not?
me so uncomfortable.
Winnie has
But I
grown
to-
so much.
So much. It's really
We'll be in a
wild.
restaurant and, shown to a table that says good, yes. And she'll just be like, and just like look away and do her own thing. Whereas before she used to go like, shh,
Well, it's that idea of control, right? Like,
no.
I'm the container. And and you just never listened to me. I don't know why I ever kept trying for
I
16
never ever
years.
listened once. I'd be like, what?
Like, just get it to fucking together, bro.
Yeah.
I love you too. Obviously, there's part of me that gets a kick out of it otherwise.
Yeah, it's like your spirit chose such a nutcase for some sort of reason.
But I feel like Borat is just so like
I like you. Do you
an
like me?
old. It's old now.
But Tom Green, Borat, we want to have Tom Green on the show. I think that makes a lot of sense. Tom, come on the show.
Yuck Yucks put me on your roster.
Yeah, we got a couple other favors coming out here if everyone's just listening. Get your notepads. Drake, take me on tour.
No, that's how we get Tom. I open for Tom.
Ah, yes.
I bet he would say yes.
Sure, I'll come on the show and we'll have a chat. I love Tom. I ran up on him on Queen. I think I made him uncomfortable.
Yeah, but he's a celebrity man. So it happens.
Shout out Tom.
We love you, Tom.
You know, I've done a good job at introducing myself to a lot of people I look up to and remain cool, but still telling them like what I do, like The Rock, like Boy Wonder. Like there's all sorts of like cool examples of people who've become friends of mine who I've looked up to, and but I gotta say with Tom Green, I went full silly fan moment, like just like hey, and I talked about his work right away, and I'm like, oh, should have played it cool.
Well,
He was
you're a
walking
fan.
past. I am. That's the other thing that I'm okay with.
Also, Tom, we know you would have won LOL, but you did the fucking
You did the fucking legendary, classy thing.
legendary thing.
You fucking gave it to the legend that is
'Cause
Colin.
Colin is a
he's
legend.
a legend and a Canadian
You
legend.
were fucking.
But that meant more, and just because Tom's done is, I mean, they've all done their thing, and all respect to everyone, but just like that was a legendary move just to give in because Colin is a legend.
Well, I mean, Colin wouldn't have given in.
No,
That's the thing.
That's
that
the
you
thing. It
also
just
know.
would have ran out.
Yeah,
it's
Colin
just like
is out of control.
unbelievable.
Batteries on that man.
He's also a VTSL alumni. Like, he's so funny. Like, talk about keeping it in the country and, like, being super dope. He was in the movie with Brigitte, too.
I'd like Colin on the show.
I'd
as
love
well.
to have Colin Mockery on the show. He's so funny.
So these are things that could go right for us this year, everybody.
This is the direction we're heading. Who's editing this? Who's the head of editing?
yeah, and if
incredibly-
they don't want smoke, we're not going to smoke.
Yeah, like for Colin Mockery, Tom Green lost to him on purpose. You think we're going to be like, no, I'm going to blow smoke in their face. Fuck yeah. But please come on the show, but fuck yeah. Colin, come on the show. I like
I
you.
love
Do you
that.
like me?
I'd also just like to speak into existence that I do some out-of-country festivals this year.
Yes.
So that could also go right.
Abundance.
I changed my
Flow with it, go with it.
Instagram description from actor to comedian.
Oh, big news.
Not that I'm not acting. I love acting.
God bless.
I just...
Yeah, films will always come in, but you're actively now out here as a comedian.
Yeah, I want to make people laugh. And I want to make people laugh in film, too.
You are making people laugh.
I make people laugh.
Also, Seth Rogen and the boys are probably just going to produce something for us down the line, you know?
Yes.
Like our own little thing. Winnie has a great series that she refuses to write. Every time she's doing anything on her phone that's non-productive, I look over her shoulder and I'm like, should be writing a script. No, that's not true, but just any
Okay, but it
open
is
time,
a
I'm
little
like,
bit
write
true.
your script.
He's like, he'll be like, what are you doing? He won't say you should be doing anything. He'll say, what are you doing? And it just calls me out hard to the point that I take my
She
phone,
hates it.
go to the bathroom for my alone time so I don't get called out.
Yeah, I know. She just like doom scrolls and she's like, I don't want to use my whole brain today.
This morning, I just like finished my meditation, right? And I got out of it and I got on Instagram pretty soon after my meditation. And I gave myself my 5
What's the point of even fucking meditating? I'm just kidding.
listen to this, it's funny. I gave myself my 5 minutes, but like I heard you cough or something and I like threw my phone. I was like, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this. It's not cool though. You're right. Like now that I'm not defensive, you are right. I shouldn't be doom scrolling. But
Mental diet. Mental diet. You said it at the top, and it sucks. No, it sucks, and your ego's not allowed to be in control because that's one thing that your ego always could control is it can go lower. The ego can't demand it go higher. You need your heart for that to vibrate higher, but it can demand you go lower.
Yeah.
And
Be compassionate with your ego too, though.
but also like you're not gonna feel better scrolling more.
That's just true.
It's not in there.
That's
It's in here.
true.
It's not in there. So
what did
every time I call
JP
you
say?
out, you don't like it because what I'm really saying or what you feel I'm saying is you're not using all of your potential right now.
This also
So you
stuck
become
with me.
defensive.
On JP's episode, he
That
said
boy dropped gems.
He said it's designed to kill you, and then he just kept moving on. And you can see if you go back to that episode, you can see me be like, "Holy fuck!"
No, it's designed to totally consume and
Designed
destroy
to
you.
Kill you.
Yep.
Okay, less Instagram. I feel inspired to do less Instagram. Scrolling. I'm
mean,
still going to be present
Remember,
on there and
remember how you said that you
like
don't
my shit and watch it.
Yeah, you know how you said though you don't like the idea of dieting?
Yeah.
So when you say like less Instagramming, that's that little they're not doing it right. I'm not doing it right. That's the judgment
Me.
thing. Yeah. Like
Me.
when you try to go but even about yourself, I'm saying diets don't work because
Right.
they come from that.
And shame.
Yeah, exactly. Like cheeseburgers are bad for you. Cheeseburgers are bad for you. Dessert's bad for
Yeah.
you. No, they're not. No, they're not. They work with my body actually very well. It depends what your genealogy is. But like I'm saying, you got to remove that voice of judgment from the equation and work from a place of what can I be doing with my time
How
instead
can
of
I
this.
nourish myself?
It's not about less of the bad thing. It's about more of the good thing.
That's it. End episode. Thank you so much for watching episode 1,
No.
episode 231
One.
or 2 maybe.
One.
Thank you so much for watching episode 231 of
do
the
this together.
11 Wins podcast. Thank you for watching another episode of the Thank you for watching another episode of 11 Wins podcast. Is that it?
Thanks for watching another episode of 11 Wins podcast. If you guys like more episodes like this, subscribe to wherever you're listening to this, and we will be serving them on a weekly basis still, hot and fresh out the oven, every Friday, 7 p.m. EST. Whether we are in LA or somewhere ahead of time, like Spain, or if we are in Toronto where it's EST.
Australia?
Down under somewhere, who knows what time it is there. It's another planet, mate.
It's 12 p.m. the next day.
Can you, planet mate, different planet mate, Planet of the Apes, let me demonstrate. Honestly, the core of all of this is meditate. Regulate your circadian rhythm. Go outside, get some light, open up your skin and let it in, and take a deep breath, oxygenate the infinite spirit in you, because oxygen is everything, isn't it? Journal. Get some ideas and scribble them. Exhibitionist, dick out, walk out, mom out, sharks out, stop now, pop down, beat out, drop down, drop out. Me.
What are some self-nourishing practices that you do? Put it in the comments below.
Fuck. Okay, this is good. Well done. Bye. I love you guys.
Welcome to 11 Wins.
podcast.
Oh,
Oh, yeah? Or 11 wins? Welcome to 11 wins.
I think so.
Oh, welcome to 11 wins. I'm 11. I'm wins.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to 11
wins. I'm 11,
I'm Wins.
and we like to talk mindful shit. Okay, you know what? This could be a funny piece of content where it's a blooper reel of us trying our new intro. I'd say like,
Welcome to another episode of 11 Wins.
yeah.
Welcome back to 11 Wins.
Welcome back to 11 wins. Or welcome to another episode of 11 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of 11 wins.
Welcome to another episode of 11 Wins.
I'm 11.
I'm Wins.
There's your boy.
We're your hosts. 11 and Wins. Can I say
No, but it's like
Winnie?
11 wins. I'm 11. I'm wins. No, yeah, keep it.
I don't know if I want to be Wins.
Okay, you don't have to be wins. I'm Winnie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Wait.
Welcome. Just say Winnie
Welcome to another episode.
of 11 wins.
Okay.
I'm 11. I'm
I'm
Winnie.
Wins. I'm Winnie.
Yeah, own your new thing.
But I'm Winnie. That's why I want to say we're your host, because we're not saying anything after Winnie like we did Gateway Drug.
No, we will. We're going to make it up.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Try it.
Welcome back to another episode of 11 Wins.
I'm 11.
I'm Winnie.
We're fucking killing it. Shit, what are you supposed to say there? Let's try
We're
it
your
with...
hosts, 11 and Winnie. Let's just try it.
Okay. Welcome to
back.
another...
Sorry.
Welcome to another episode of 11...
No. Take a breath.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
hi.
Ready?
Welcome to another episode of 11 Wins. I'm 11.
And we're your hosts, 11 and Winnie. And we're your hosts,
11.
and Winnie.
Okay, you say it.
Welcome back to another episode of 11 Hosts.
Okay. I'm 11. I'm hosting. Welcome back to the show. 11 hosts. Let's try it again. Here we go. Let's try it again. Win. Welcome back to another episode of 11 Wins. We're your hosts.
Okay, now I got it.
Okay,
What are we going to come up with something?
we must.
Well, we should have done that before the episode.
Everything's already rolling. This is a good video in itself. Ugh. That's funny.
Welcome back to 11 Wins. I'm your host, Winny, and this is 11. Today we talk about, in today's
Yeah, maybe we just move right on.
in
Today's
in
episode.
this episode.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's just do that.
Okay, so no host. I'm 11. I'm Winnie. In today's episode.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's a bit of an evolution from what we had. Ready?
Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of 11 Wins.
I'm your host, 11.
So close,
Okay. Previously, the Disciplined Stoners podcast, I guess we should say.
I guess, for the first one.
Wow. Previously, the
The
Disciplined
Disciplined Stoners podcast. The gateway drug to mindfulness.
Currently,
The 11 Wins podcast. Previously, the
Disciplined
Disciplined Stoners
Stoners
podcast.
currently,
The 11 Wins podcast. In the foreseeable future, the 11 Wins podcast.
And it's with your host 11 and Winnie, like 11 wins, you know?
Easy, just rolls right off
that's
the
how
tongue.
you know.
Oh, hey, have you heard that podcast? What podcast?
The 11 and Wins podcast.
Oh, yeah, I have heard that podcast.
That's hosted by 11 and Winnie.
Because it's blown up. They have millions of subscribers.
I think they're at 100 million now.
Wow. They obviously bring big value to the people.
The basketball players love them.
And they highlight wonderful, exciting, unique people, inspiring people.
They create luxurious experiences for cannabis lovers at their events. Okay, love you guys. Enjoy the
love you.
episode. Talk soon.
I don't know when that ended and when the...
That was really